Hey, Kelsey.
How are you, man? Good to see you, Gentry.
Nice seeing you. Our next guest has surfed big Atlanta breaks, sailed many moonless seas, crossed America on two wheels, and a lightning bolt shot through him along the way. A psychiatrist without a license, a mayor without many scruples, and the boss of Chicago. 6 Emmys, 3 Golden Globes, a Tony, and one of the longest-running characters in television history. He always plays up to his audience. Let's welcome in Kelsey Grammer. Looking good, Kelsey.
Thanks, Gentry. That was very impressive. You did your research.
I sure did, man. There's no other way. And congratulations on Lars Shrike Walks the Night. I think this character came out about 40 years ago in The Trouble with Dick.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of this some 40 years ago? What got you off on playing this?
I did not see the movie. I've not seen the performance. I am good friends with Gary Walko, who is the creator and writer and director of this film and that one. He and I have known each other for a long, long time. And he finally came to me a couple of years back and brought me this script and said, I want you to read this. So I read it, and I called him back and I said, I like it. I like it a lot. I'd like to do Lars. I'd like to play it. And he said, oh, well, I was hoping you'd just finance it.
You did a great job. It was one of those movies that it was odd, number one, but number two, It was like unpredictable. You had
it's engaging.
Yeah, you had
intellectually challenging. You suddenly start to care for this character. You realize we're all in his position in a weird way. We come from someplace we don't know. We're going someplace we're not sure of. We don't even really know why we're here, and we don't know if it means anything. This is what Lars Shrike is going through as he's walking through his night. It's wonderful, and I think most people will kind of resonate with him and say, "Gosh, it's a wonderful journey. But it's challenging, and sometimes it feels fruitless." And but good old Lars, he keeps going.
Yeah, he does. I was really worried about Lars in the beginning when it was just you and the little gun you had, I guess, and then I thought maybe this was just going to be like a Tom Hanks film where you're just you on camera the entire time, and then the lovely Lottie shows up, the beautiful stranger, and things got very intimate. That had to be a fun scene to shoot.
You know, she was terrific, wonderful performance, and I mean it was just great because it's almost like Homer's Odyssey. It really is. It's just not the same size budget. These individuals, almost mythical creatures, show up and tell him something about himself, or reveal a certain human experience that he's not aware of. Intimacy, help, kindness, compassion, all these values that he doesn't really know anything about. I mean, he doesn't even know what a can of soda is. That's what's fascinating about him. He doesn't understand what a tent is out in the desert. It's all a new experience to him. So they show up and they offer him these little mini refuges, and then he wants to keep going. He wants to find out who he is, why he is.
We're talking with 6-time Emmy winner, 3-time Golden Globe winner, Kelsey Grammer, new sci-fi thriller, Lars Shrike Walks the Night. It arrives July 24th. One thing I took watching it was the outfit you were wearing. It looked a little like Evel Knievel. I was thinking, did you ever get that sense when you put it on that you might, get back on the motorcycle and do some tricks? I hadn't
actually put that together, but my truck is in the movie. I have a truck that's been pretty tricked out for driving around in the desert if you want to. And it for the first time, its DNA was like at play. I actually drove it out to the desert, some of the locations we were on, and it was a little forbidding. The terrain is pretty rough. So I got to feel my truck as it was meant to be driven. That was really fun. I didn't get on a motorcycle, but you're right about the Evel Knievel thing. I didn't quite make that connection. It was not a comfortable outfit, but it's a prison suit, so okay, it's not supposed to be.
And when I think of Evel Knievel, I actually, some time ago, I would have never thought Kelsey Grammer, but as I've done my research for this interview, I find that you ride motorcycles, you surf, you sail. You're a very dangerous guy.
That's the way I always lived my life. Yeah, I always want to get back to it. Get me on a sailboat, I'm happy.
Of those things, what made you feel most alive? The surfing, the sailing, the motocross across the country?
At different times, it was different things. As I got a little bit more mature, as I became like more of a man and I had kids and stuff like that, the sailing was the thing that really really got me, really engaged me, because it's a little like surfing, it's a little like motorcycles. Motorcycles, you can't get away with what I used to get away with on the motorcycle anymore.
What do you mean by that? You can't get
I
away
used
with
to
it.
drive, I went through a place called Texas Canyon one night. I think I was doing 140 miles an hour.
Wow.
And it was just one of the greatest experiences of my life. I mean, because I could hear myself. It was, like well past 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was roaring through these canyons, and the echo of the bike and the movement. It was just nothing like it. It was like poetry. It was a fantastic event in my life.
And what about the story when you're heading across country and you're in Alabama, the rainstorm, and you got struck by lightning? How do you live through something like that? And what does it feel like to get a lightning bolt through your body?
Well, it's funny. I took a ride with Jim Caviezel just the other day, and he had a similar experience. Although I don't think he was grounded, I'm pretty sure that my motorcycle saved my life on that because of the rubber and the road and all that. It's just I sort of like was a conductor, and it had someplace to go. It didn't want to eat me up, right? It just sort of passed through me, which was an extraordinary gift. I thought I felt a buzz. I felt like a jolt, but I didn't feel hurt by it. I felt, engaged by it, like a surprise, like, what the hell was that? And I always figured it was like a, little poke from God saying, you're doing the right thing.
And did you pull over at that point, or did you say,
No, kept going.
life is a highway, let's keep rocking, baby?
There you go. Yeah, I think I dialed up the speed just a little bit more.
Who were some of your heroes as a child? Because somebody had to inspire this Evel Knievel like living that you did. Like, who were people you looked up to?
John Wayne. John Wayne was a big
Duke.
one. Big guy. That was wonderful for me. His sense of, right and wrong and courage and, fighting the right kind of fight. These things are things I still carry to this day. That and my granddad fought in Guadalcanal. He raised me. He was overseas for 2.5 years during World War II in the Pacific Theater. And I thought, I admire this man more than anybody in my whole life. And so in a lot of ways, I just wanted to be like him.
Like a lot of us living here on the prison planet, Kelsey, we have a lot of stress, including myself. I got kids and mortgage out the ass.
Yeah, you got it.
You've talked about the amazing experiences you have through meditation. Can this be taught fairly quickly here on this program, or can you point us in the right direction? How do you find that zen?
Probably. Well, there's a big community out here in California that does this plant medicine stuff. Now, some of that I've indulged in some of that, but well before that, I was into yoga. I mean, I was into yoga when I was 14 years old, and I would meditate every night before I'd go to sleep, and doors would open. I mean, I remember it just expanding my consciousness as a young man, and whatever that strange little fellow was sitting in his bedroom and doing like stretches and sitting in the lotus position. I found great value in it, and a sense of the spiritual, a sense of God that has stayed with me my whole life.
Is there a certain book or teachings that we should look into that would help us?
Well, I'd read them all. I mean, I loved comparative religion. I mean, the Bhagavad Gita, I loved all that. I even read the Quran years ago. There's some wonderful stuff in all the books. The Bible, this is man's search for meaning. It is that sort of. We all have our own personal, voyage in it, and that's what this movie is. It's a movement through. What do we mean? Why are we here? It's what we do. If you don't want to engage, I guess you don't want to ask a lot of questions. Okay, but I needed to know.
Lars definitely asked a lot of questions in the new sci-fi thriller, Lars Shrike Walks the Night. It arrives July 24th on Apple TV. It'll be available digital real soon. I highly recommend you go watch it. Kelsey, when you first read for Cheers, you didn't even have the part yet, but it seems like you're pretty ballsy walking in there. Right away, you wanted to change the last name of the character. You had your own ideas of how the character should be on the show. How did that audition go down, and how did you have that kind of confidence when you really hadn't cut your teeth a ton on primetime TV?
Yeah, well, I just kind of knew what was right for a character. I knew about how to be an actor. I didn't have any preconceived notions about what it was to be on television. I didn't really watch TV a lot at the time. I used to watch Johnny Carson when I was a kid, but I'd spent the last 10 years in theater in New York City. So the only thing I knew how to do is build a character and be true to him. And I thought to myself, reading what I'd read, Frasier Nye was the original name, and I thought, well, that just reminded me of Louis Nye, and I thought that's probably the wrong signal to send for this character. I thought he should be a little more, uptight, and a little more New Englandy kind of. And so they came up with Crane. That made perfect sense to me. And then I always believed the writing was good on that. The writing on the sides was good, and I thought I can play this guy. So I felt fairly confident about it. If they didn't want to use me, that was fine. I would have done something else, but they did. They made the right choice.
I recently had John Ratzenberger on the show as Toy Story 5 just hit theaters recently, and
Yeah.
I asked him this same question. I want to ask you, see if you guys mentioned the same person, but which Cheers cast member do you think was most like the character in real life, and why?
Well, boy, you know what? It's a toss-up between George and Woody. I mean, Georgie actually really did like beer, which kind of amazed me. But he was a jovial fellow, well met. Woody was always a bit of a literal kind of fun, ethereal guy, I guess you could say. I love Woody, but we are still friends. I see him all the time. I don't know. John, of course, he came up with the idea for Cliff when he was with the writers. He basically said, do you guys have a know-it-all at the bar? And that gave birth to the mailman.
Well, John chose Norm Peterson. The George Wendt, of course, did a fantastic job. That was his choice, and John loved his beer. That's what I hear. So,
yeah.
How much of Frasier Crane is actually Kelsey Grammer, you think?
Well, it's a good chunk of it, but most of it's my imagination. My imagination was who came up with Frasier. I don't really live like Frasier. The only thing we share is a fondness for caviar.
I really don't like caviar. It just doesn't do it for me.
Well, it surprised me when I first had enough money to buy some. I was really quite shocked that it was so good.
Better than cocaine?
Yes, indeed.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
If Frasier Crane went back on the radio tonight, what do you think he would tell us that we need to hear the most?
Keep going. There's nothing like don't stay in place. If you've got a tough day, get up again. Get up again. It's a new day, and keep fighting.
And you've done that a lot of your life. If you want to learn more about Kelsey, you can read his memoir, which is great. And you talk a lot about the loss that you've had in your life. You've experienced loss in forms most people can't even imagine. For somebody that's maybe in the first days of grief right now, what do you wish somebody would have told you back when grief was fresh and new to you?
Oh boy, yeah, that's really tough because I didn't really share with too many people in the early days. I just was sort of stuck I was really lost in it for quite a while. I would simply say, hang on, you'll get through it. You'll always miss this person. You'll always, if it's the kind of grief that I've been exposed to, and honestly, it's all the same. If you have a right to miss somebody, you have a right to mourn them. Don't lose your own life in the process, but it takes a big chunk out of you. And the only thing to do is the only harbor I would offer to anybody would be that in time you remember the nice things about this person, the gift it was to know them in their heyday, rather than carry the memory of their death. It's hard sometimes to separate that out, but in time, I wish that everyone will be able to separate it out enough to remember them in the right way.
And something that can help take away some of the grief, at least take your mind off of it, is to watch this new thriller, sci-fi thriller, Lars Shrike Walks the Night, starring our guest, Kelsey Grammer, who recently spent some time with President Trump in the Oval Office. Can you share a little bit about that conversation, and how do you feel about President Trump so far?
Great conversation. I'm a fan of Donald Trump for a lot of reasons, but mostly because he is a disruptor. I was pretty dissatisfied with what was going on in Washington D.C. myself, so I think that's what happened. And I'm all my friends on the left, I look at him and say, well, you guys elected him the second time, because I mean the fight against Donald Trump, the pillorying of him, the accusations, the indictments, all that stuff. Americans love a guy that's been bullied. They really went out of their way to destroy this guy's life. They tried to put him in jail for life, and then somebody tried to shoot him. So I think I've always blamed the left for the new Donald Trump, and I'm actually quite impressed with his presidency at this point. You know, we're always going to make some halting moments, maybe some decisions that you question once in a while, but this guy means what he says. He shows up. He's there every day. He talks with the press every single day. I've never seen anything as transparent in my life. For that alone, I'm very happy about it. And for closing the border, I know it's controversial, but you know what? It's important. We have to be able to control. We don't have a country without borders, so I'm one of those guys.
Well, as we wrap up here, Kels, when people look back at the boxes you've checked, the Shakespeare, the comedy, the drama, animation, musical theater, the new movie Lars Shrike, what box is still sitting there waiting for you to check? Any? Or have you checked them all?
Well, I'd like to travel a bit more. I have some other countries I'd like to get to know. When I was a young man, I thought to myself, if I have luck, if I choose to be an actor and I have luck at it, I'll get to know what it's like to be in different cultures just because I'll work there. You know, maybe I'll shoot there for 3 months or whatever it is. And if you get a chance to live somewhere, you get a chance to know those people. I did a film in Hungary years ago, and I got a sense that I really understood that community, you know, and that's my hunger, is to understand the diversity of human interaction. And I love it. And I'm in the right job for it.
Well, I've enjoyed our interaction here today, Kelsey. Lars Shrike Walks the Night. It's available for rent or to own July 24th. Stagger onward, rejoicing, my friend. And thank you so much for your time. God bless you.
You too.
Frasier has left the building.